Right, and here we go, finally getting to our first of potentially many PvPs of the evening. Here in the bottom right hand corner, we have the Mexican Protoss player. He is blue, representing Team Alpha X. It is Pacomike. And spawning in the top left hand corner of Lightshade LE, we have the American Protoss. He is red, representing Team Exxon. It is Ruiyichi. And here we go. The big boys are here. Ruiyichi versus Pacomike. I do have to give the edge to Pacomike. Pacomike, of course, being the best Protoss player in Latin America. You know, it's a pretty amazing feat to have. Pacomike, of course, he is around 6k on the NA ladder. Ruiyichi, I believe he's around that, but he isn't anywhere near as accomplished. Again, it will come down to their PvP at the end of the day, and that can be a little bit of a coin flip. Thankfully, we see that the players aren't being overly aggressive. You know, we don't have a proxy pylon out on the map. Right now, the players, they are just scouting each other with their initial probes. And so far, both players are respecting each other. What I mean by that is that both players have gone for their high ground expansions. No one went for like a fast low ground wall to get a fast nexus out. To be fair, it would be really crazy to do something like that on a map like Lightshade, just because the rush distance by ground is so small. So yeah, interesting decisions here. So far, pretty standard from both players. And we will see where they diverge in builds, whether someone goes for a Stargate, whether someone goes for a Twilight Council into Blink, whether someone goes for something a little bit more cheeky. As Pacomike is sending his probe out here and is looking to throw down a proxy pylon. Oh my. Looking to. We'll see if he does. You can throw down a pylon here, maybe throw down a gateway to reinforce, or throw down a tech structure. As we do see two stalkers coming out here for Pacomike. Meanwhile, instead, Ruiyichi is going for his 2 adepts. Ooh, 4 adepts even. Oh my, looking to be a little bit aggressive here, looking to try and commit to a shade, as well as going for that Stargate. Oh my, so the adepts are going across the map, only 2 so far, and we'll see how on point Pacomike is made. Of course he is. He's already got a probe here on the ramp. He is looking to throw down that pylon or the shot. I was worried. I was concerned, but I shouldn't be. Pacomike, he's on point. He threw down that shield battery. He was able to make sure the adepts stayed on the low ground, didn't get into the main base, and forces a recall, as Ruiyichi didn't want to lose his adepts, which is quite interesting. What's scary is that now we have another 2. In total, we have 4 adepts going across the map. With 4 adepts, you can commit to a shade and you can focus down the building and maybe break through. So this could be a little bit scary here as the adepts come in and no! Pacomike, he was too late. He was too slow. The adepts, they shaded in. The shield battery does finish up, but you know what? It is too late, and as a result, Pacomike will lose 4 probes. Ooh, and here come more shades. No, he canceled. No, he didn't go in. Ah, God. A little bit too busy as Ruiyichi is controlling his Oracle. He does run into the adepts of Pacomike, but the adept committed to the shade, but Ruiyichi was on point. He does wall off. Meanwhile, at the same time, 3 adepts coming in here just in time. Not a pylon, but a gateway instead that will be strong enough to survive against all of these adepts and not go down. Solid wall here by Pacomike. Slipping up earlier, but now on point. Ooh. So they did go blow for blow a little bit there, but in the end, both players will expand. They will get their natural bases up and running. Ruiyichi, he's still looking to deal some damage though. He still has 4 adepts here, posturing, threatening the ramp of Pacomike. At the same time, the Oracle will be diving in. We have 2 Oracles now for Ruiyichi, 1 here to the south, 1 to the north, looking to dive in. The big brain move would be if the Oracle dives in, actually kills this drone, sorry, this probe, and then goes in with the shade. Oh, as 2 probes do go down to the first Oracle, the Adepts is trying to shade. Pacomike on point with the wall. And pretty interesting here. So Pacomike, because he didn't invest into that Stargate, he is going for Blink as well as +1. Meanwhile, Ruiyichi likewise went for that Twilight Council, is also working on Blink, but he is far behind in terms of upgrades. So if the game progresses and we end up in Blink Stalker Wars, Pacomike will have the advantage. He will have the stronger Stalkers available to him, and there will be this window where maybe he can exploit that. Meanwhile, oh, the 2 Oracles do dive into the main base. 1 shield battery is not enough, and sure, the Oracles will fall, but enough damage has been dealt. 10 probes go down. 11, oh my god. Ay, 12 probes. I was talking about this window, this advantage that Pacomike would have, but losing this many workers is far too much damage. Pacomike down almost 20. Sorry, I should say he's down just over 10 workers compared to his opponent, and now he's going across the map. I love this response. Pacomike is throwing down a Dark Shrine to try and equalize that damage, to try and sneak in and get a bunch of worker kills. Now, of course, the Blink Stalker Wars will happen. A little bit of an anti-timing there, or mistiming by Pacomike. +1 just finished after the Stalkers did bounce off each other. And both players are looking to expand. But again, Pacomike down 10 workers. He needs to do something to get back into this. What's important is that there is no robo. So there is no potential for observers, for detection. Ruiyichi will have to rely on his Oracles to detect instead. Speaking of Oracles, he has 0. They all died earlier, so right now he is vulnerable to DTs. They can deal a lot of damage. Unfortunately for Pacomike, he has no way to warp them in across the map and just, you know, harass as soon as possible, so it'll take some time for them to waddle, to waddle across Lightshade. Uh-oh. Meanwhile, Ruiyichi is looking to push out across the map. He's looking to throw down a reinforcing pylon and hit that 3rd base. Meanwhile, Pacomike, it looks like he will spot the army, but he doesn't have enough Stalkers. Not right now. And the DT is going in. Please don't show yourself. Don't show yourself. Oh, God. The DT does move past. Did Ruiyichi notice? It doesn't look like he did. But does it even matter? Like, Ruiyichi, he does have the numbers advantage right now. He is up to 18 Stalkers compared to the 12 of Pacomike. But doesn't matter. The DTs are getting into the bases. They are here. They're in the natural. They're going into the main. And there is 0 detection for Ruiyichi. Ruiyichi, he's trying to chrono out an Oracle. Yo, if Pacomike saw that, he could focus down the pylon and depower this. Like, and that would be huge. But he doesn't even need to because so many workers are going down. At the same time, Ruiyichi, he's forced to pull the trigger. He dives in with his Stalkers. Probes are being pulled. But you know what? The shield battery is done. Overcharge is available. But the shield battery gets focused down. But the defensive DTs, that will be enough to defend. And Pacomike should survive this. And there it is. Ruiyichi is forced back. He's forced to recall. And mate, how many probes have gone down? 24. And Revelation was used on 1 of the DTs. Of the Dark Templars. And it wasn't even enough to kill it. Oh god, he's trying to though. He does kill 1 of the DTs, but the 2nd DT goes into the main base. The damage hasn't stopped. Ay, there it is. Revelation is finally used. Recall is used to save the DT, and it will survive. My god, and just like that, the turns have tabled. Pacomike, he is up in terms of workers. They are equal in terms of upgrades. Ruiyichi does have charge though, so he does have that available to him. He has no way to reinforce his army. I don't know if this is the right move. He's pushing out. Oh god, the DTs are gonna run into him. Yeah, he's gonna go back home. Mate, calm down, buddy. Oh boy. He does go back home. We do have an Oracle with the main army now, just for those Revelations. We even have a couple of cannons being thrown down. The cannon isn't done quite yet, though, so we'll see if the DT can deal any damage here. 1, 2, 3, maybe 4. As he chips away at the cannon, Revelation isn't wasted. Oh my. And this is bold. Only a cannon at the 3rd base. No cannon in the natural or the main. Yo, if that DT had gone for the natural, that would have been disastrous for Ruiyichi. Oh boy, as we see, Pacomike is the first player to go for +2. He's catching up, he's getting charge as well. But of course, Ruiyichi, because he got it earlier, maybe he could have gone for some kind of timing. But because his economy was hit so hard, he was forced back. He was forced to be a little bit more defensive to get back into this game. And he's doing a decent job at it. Now he's only down 5 workers. He's slowly catching back up. But Pacomike is in a really good position right now. Ooh, even snipes the Oracle. And we'll see how this goes for Ruiyichi. I'm honestly, I'm not feeling this push. The biggest reason why? We have an Immortal. We're equal in upgrades and one player has Immortals, whereas the other just has Pure Blink Stalker. I don't know about that one, mate. We'll see, we'll see. Right now, he is out positioning the army. Pacomike is actually closer to the natural base and he will catch all these Zealots, but he's not here to defend against these Blink Stalkers. Nicely done here by Ruiyichi. He dives in, he gets a bunch of worker kills, and then he backs out. Again, worker kills are what he needed because of all the economic damage that was dealt earlier. Meanwhile, at the same time, we do have a War Prism sneaking into the main base of Pacomike, and Pacomike doesn't have vision! Oh no! He cannot see the edge of his base! Meanwhile, right now, Pacomike is trying to dance with the army of Ruiyichi. Ruiyichi once again outpositions Pacomike, does hit the third base. Pacomike is trying to catch up. At the same time, we do have that warping of Zealots in the main base, but thanks to the stack defense, Pacomike is perfectly fine. But 6 probes did go down. But how much did Ruiyichi lose there? Like, that must have been a pretty hefty loss. He's still continuing to warp in Zealots against DTs. That's not what you want to see. Oh god, the harassment didn't really do much of anything. And here we go. Disruptors are coming out for Pacomike. So Pacomike, he's ahead in upgrades, he's got Immortals, and he also has Disruptors. But that doesn't mean everything. Disruptors are the great equalizer. That works in both ways, because disruptor shots, they can just absolutely decimate an army, or they could miss and then they're just dead supply. So disruptors, they're a little bit hit and miss, in more ways than one, right? They can pay for themselves, or they can be a heavy loss. Speaking of heavy loss, oh, Ruiyichi does lose his War Prism. Oh god, a little bit unfortunate there by Ruiyichi. Does go down to the Stalker. And we will see how things progress. Ooh, Blink is done for the DTs as Pacomike does catch a bunch of Zealots trying to go for a bit of a run by, so the Zealots will be dealt with. They will be pushed back. Meanwhile, Ruiyichi is transitioning not into Disruptors, but into Archons instead. Going Charge Lot Archon can be a very solid way to deal with Disruptors because Zealots with charge, they will dive on top of the Disruptors, and then it can be a little bit awkward to actually land those Purification Novas. Oh, meanwhile, these hallucinations of Ruiyichi, nicely done. He does spot the Disruptors. He sees all 4 of them. He sees the army pushing out, so he can position his own army. I mean, god, he's a little bit out of position, but it looks like he wants to go for the Disruptors. And he gets 1. He gets 2. Oh god, at the cost of 1 big Disruptor shot. We'll see if it was worth it. Oh no, the War Prism! The War Prism, it does go down! Meanwhile, the Immortal of Pacomike was exposed, so he loses the Immortal and forces to recall the Disruptors. Oh my god. And in the end, the army of Pacomike will get cleaned up, but was it worth it? 21 workers went down. We had that awesome Disruptor shot earlier as well. Like, Pacomike, even though he did lose an army, what did he really lose? He lost 2 Disruptors, an Immortal, and Stalkers. Not the worst thing in the world, especially because he was able to keep his Disruptors alive. And now that the Disruptors were revealed, Ruiyichi, he is going for his own robotic space, so he's looking to try and catch up in terms of that Disruptor count and land his own Purification Novas, which can definitely work. And this is the thing that's hurting Pacomike the most. Pacomike, he has some vision out here with these observers. He's completely blind here on the top side of the map, and as a result, this army completely catches Pacomike off guard. Recall was already used. He's trying to warp in a couple of defensive zealots, but the workers will go down. Stack defense will go down as well. Pacomike, he is trying to respond, and he is rotating towards the top of the map. That leaves his natural exposed. But G gets called. It was not enough. Ruiyichi, he was trying to make some magic happen, but he was so far behind earlier after losing all those workers at his natural, and he taps out. Just couldn't keep up. Looks like map 2 will be Jagannatha. GG. Just ready and waiting for the players. There we go. GLHF. And what a game. It was very back and forth. There were moments where Pacomike was dealing a lot of damage and being ahead. There were moments earlier on where Ruiyichi was doing a lot of damage with his adepts and with his oracles. But Pacomike going for those DTs was so smart of him. It was really the best way for him to get back into the game. And yeah, the DTs, there were the MVPs there. Later on, so were the disruptors. Wow. What a game one. And speaking of game one, here we have him coming out. Already up 1-0 in this best of 3. We have the Mexican Protoss player. He is blue. He is representing Team Alpha X. It is Pacomike. And spawning in the top right hand corner of Jagannatha LE, we have the American Protoss. He is red, representing his colors and his team, Exxon. It is Ruiyichi. Of course, Exxon, massive shout out to Exxon. They support a lot of players in North America. They support Cham, they support Nina, they support Special. They have some very big Latin American and North American names on their team. Ruiyichi also being one of them. As they do a lot for the NA scene. But you know what? Against Pacomike, they're struggling a little bit. So we'll see how Ruiyichi does here. We'll see if he's able to switch things up. Again, when it comes to the early game, Ruiyichi, he did better, right? He was able to deal a lot more damage and he came out ahead. It was the follow-up though. It was, you know, his lack of scouting where he didn't see the Dark Shrine. He had no idea to anticipate some DTs coming across the map to harass him. It did blindside him, and yeah, he lost the game in the end. And that was part of it. The DTs definitely played a role there. They played their part. Boy. But we'll see. Of course, a different map, different game, different mindset. We'll see how these players shape up, as so far, they are opening up exactly the same as game number 1. Except the roles are reversed. Where Ruiyichi is going for his Stalkers, meanwhile, Pacomike is going for the Adepts. Both players did wall off on top of the ramp, not at their naturals, so again, just being a little bit safer, a little bit less greedy. Meanwhile, Pacomike does have a probe hidden out here to the top left-hand side of the map. Speaking of the top left, we also have Ruiyichi with a probe here to the top left as well. Just out of reach of each other, and this is scary. Ruiyichi is getting a very fast Twilight Council. This is not for Blink. This shouldn't be for Blink. I imagine he may even proxy the Dark Shrine. Oh no, never mind, it's Blink. Huh. This is fast. This is very fast. I was hoping for a proxy Dark Shrine. I wanted it deep inside me. What? But we didn't get it. Instead we are getting Blink, and Pacomike is going for his Stargate. We'll see how this turns out. I'm a little bit worried for Pacomike, just because Pacomike can be aggressive with Oracles, sure, but there are going to be Blink Stalkers to defend, and then counterattack. So I am very concerned for Pacomike's well-being. Meanwhile, Pacomike, he did not bank up 4 Stalkers, sorry, 4 Adepts. He banked up 6. So he's going to be going for mass Adepts going across the map. We'll see how this works against each other, right? Blink isn't done yet, and there it is. I knew I could feel it somewhere. So it is a little bit late. I thought he was going to get the Dark Shrine first. He got it after Blink, so it does delay the DTs, but it does mean that he's a little bit safer. So I guess it kind of works out. But again, the push is here. Pacomike, he's coming in with his mass Stalkers. He's going to be looking to get into the main base. It doesn't even matter if there is a wall, and he commits to the shade. He's trying to break in, and he does break through the wall. At the same time here, oh my god, I love this, the Stasis Ward. Oh my god, the brain. Meanwhile, all the probes in the main base are forfeit. He does not commit to the shade into the natural. The stasis does go up, but it doesn't even matter as all these probes are going down. 12, 13 probes. But what's important is the DTs. The Dark Shrine is finishing up. Ruiyichi will be able to counterattack. Meanwhile, here we go. The Adepts, they shade back and forth into the main, into the natural. There's still 3 surviving. They can still one-shot these probes, and they will, as they commit to the shade once again into the main base. But what's important, hey, here we go. DTs are out. They are walking across the map. What is the detection looking like here? No! I was about to say, it's huge that the Oracle is here to defend, but he wastes his energy on the Stasis Ward. He needed the energy for Revelation. Oh god, and the DT's here. Oh god, please. But you know what? There's the second Oracle. No! Stop throwing down the Stasis! Paco for the cancel! No! He throws down a second Stasis Ward. He's ready for a counterattack, but he's not ready for DTs. Meanwhile, Rishi tries to come in. He does get stasis. But is it going to be enough? Where is it? Oh, there it is. The DT does sneak into the main base. 9 probes do go down. The worker count has equalized. Pacomike, please. God, as the shield battery does go down as well. Ruiyichi, he's doing a lot of damage with his stalkers, and that DT is still alive in the main. And he does dive back in. He will force a revelation. There we go. The revelation does get used, and the DT will be dealt with. But at the same time, Ruiyichi, oh my god, the Stasis Ward does catch the Stalkers. Pacomike, he does defend. He lost more workers than he would have liked to, but he is still alive, and he does get out an Observer. Oh boy. And now the 2 players kind of bounce off each other. Ruiyichi is continuing to reinforce across the map with these Stalkers, and with enough Stalkers, he will be able to break his opponent. But the defensive position here with 2 shield batteries, like, oh god, Ruiyichi, he cannot do anything here. He does get forced back. Meanwhile, the Dark Shrine does get revealed by the Oracles of Pacomike. And what is there to defend? Yo, doesn't matter how many shield batteries you have, Oracles do not care. And they're gonna dive in, and they're gonna start one-shotting these probes. Oh my god, recall gets forced, but it's too late. 7 probes went down, and you know what? He recalled into the natural. He's trying to blink into the main base, and oh my god, the Oracles will escape. Somehow, some way, they dove in, killed 7 probes, and dove out. Oh boy, oh boy. Meanwhile, Pacomike, he's safe and sound, right? He forced a recall that gives Pacomike some room to breathe, some room to get a 3rd base up and running. Both players looking to expand and take their 3rd bases, so even though we had a very chaotic opening to the game where we had Oracles across the map, we had DTs, we had Glaive Adepts, not even Glaive Adepts, we had Glaive Less Adepts. There was a lot going on. In the end, things are pretty equal. Oh my god, as Pacomike does lose 1 of his Oracles. Oh, a bit of a shame there. But yeah, things are pretty even right now. Both players are going for their upgrades, both players are going for +1, both players are going for their third bases, both players are at around 45 workers. Now the players are finally starting to differentiate. Ruiyichi is the first player to go into Immortals. Never mind, both players actually have their singular Immortal. But Pacomike did throw down that, unless I'm mistaken, hold on. Where are we? I could have sworn I saw a Robotics Bale on the way for Pacomike, but he cancelled it. Interesting. So I thought he was going to go into Disruptors, but he did cancel it, and instead he's going for DTs again. I mean, 5-head move, right? Like, you get DT'd, you don't expect to be DT'd in return as a response. So maybe this Dark Shrine will pay for itself. It's very risky, especially this late in the game. You'd expect Ruiyichi to have detection. Meanwhile, there it is. Robotics Bay on the way for Pacomike and for Ruiyichi as well. They're both looking to get into Disruptors. So again, for the most part, they are both going for the same tech. The difference is that Ruiyichi does have charge and Pacomike does not. He's neglecting charge completely, which is exactly what Pacomike did in the previous game. But we'll see if it's going to affect anything really. My eyes are on this Dark Shrine. If we have a look at the detection for Ruiyichi, he has an observer with the main army, and that is it. So that is his form of detection. Because it's with his main army though, like, it is going to be difficult for the DTs to find too much damage. Maybe if they sneak into the main base. Maybe. Speaking of sneaking into the main base, that War Prism does sneak in to Pacomike's main base. Pacomike has no idea that the Zealots are there. There is a shield battery and a cannon, so too much damage shouldn't be dealt. Meanwhile, Ruiyichi is pushing out into the center of the map with his Stalkers, with even some sentries, oh my, and an Immortal looking to push into the natural base. Meanwhile, Pacomike, oh, he's a little bit distracted. The Immortal Pacomike is a little bit exposed, but Pacomike pounces forward, takes out the War Prism. Mind Guts. And the Zealots deal no damage. 3 probes, that's it. That's all they get. Nicely done by Pacomike. He forces Ruiyichi back. Ruiyichi, without his War Prism, he cannot stick around. That takes away a lot of micro potential. That takes away your ability to reinforce your army across the map. So he is forced back. And yo, Pacomike is committing to the Dark Shrine, and he is going for Blink. Wow. And with Blink, I do think a decent amount of DTs can deal a lot of damage if they blink into the main base, you know, if they go dive on top of the cannon. And again, DTs, their DPS is pretty high. They can deal a lot of damage in a very short period of time. Oh god. We'll see. We'll see if he's going to be able to pull it off. Meanwhile, the two armies are missing each other. Ooh, Ruiyichi does expose one of his Disruptors. It does get picked up for free. He's a little bit out of position. Meanwhile, the Disruptor shots of Pacomike are going to be key here. Let's see them. Ooh, he does lose one. He loses both Disruptors before any Novas go off. Aye. Beautiful target fire there by Ruiyichi. Pacomike, he's trying to sneak into the main base, but he's losing a lot of Stalkers in the process. Meanwhile, oh my god, another warp in was denied here, and Pacomike does blink out. At the same time, DTs did kill the 4th base of Ruiyichi. So this does reveal the DTs. It does mean that Ruiyichi, like, he's aware of them, and there it is. He's throwing down some cannons to defend his 3rd base. Meanwhile, Ruiyichi's pushing out across the map. The big advantage that Ruiyichi has is that Disruptor, but the Nova does go off. Ooh, does kill one Disruptor of Ruiyichi, but another Disruptor is remaining, and Blink is on cooldown. Oh, only gets 1 Stalker. And this is scary for Ruiyichi. Ruiyichi, he doesn't have a War Prism. He cannot reinforce. He cannot keep his Disruptor alive. If it does get caught out, and it's about to, oh god, the Disruptor is so exposed. And he does pull back. Meanwhile, the target fire is on point. Pacomike loses both Disruptors, and he blinks away. Does dodge the Nova, and it looks like this is going Pacomike's way. Another Disruptor gets donated for free by Ruiyichi, and the aggressive blink forward. Ruiyichi, he's losing the Stalker battle. He does not have enough. There are reinforcements here for Pacomike. He does have the defender's advantage, and GG gets called. Pacomike takes game number 2, and he moves on. He is our first player in the semifinals. My oh my. Really good performance there by Pacomike. I'll be real here. Like that was pretty impressive. The way he was able to outmaneuver the army, his decision making as well, and even slipping up a little bit, you know, when it comes to the Oracle throwing down stasis wards instead of having energy for DTs. Again, he himself was not expecting DTs across the map, but he was able to handle it nicely. I think maybe the most important thing to me that was apparent was that he had like a cool head throughout the entire game. Like like things that were happening weren't really affecting his decision making or his response times. Like he was just on point. Really well done. And with that, Pacomike, as I said earlier, is the first player to advance to the semifinals, where he will be facing his opponent, the winner of Jim Rising versus Shakti.